I'm upset. No disrespect, respectfully. But disrespectfully, it's disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans. Poor little bro, them. And I'm gonna tell them why I'm mad. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus. The other state. And of course, as always, I'm upset. I am upset. Welcome to a very impromptu version of A Minute with the Madman. That's what I'm going to call these impromptu shows by myself. Minute with the Madman. I want to thank each and every one of you, all four of you who have joined me today at this moment. We got some things to talk about, including Jim Harbaugh's return. We've got fallout from CSU, and of course, Lil Bro Nim has finally tuckered out. Mel has gotten himself fired. I don't know whether to celebrate or it seems wrong to celebrate a man losing his job. However, he is accused of some pretty shaky things, even if he is not guilty of said things, right? If he's not guilty of harassment, SA, whatever the kids are calling it these days. At the very least, he engaged in some inappropriate activity, right? So there's that. I'm not gonna go too crazy on that though, because whatever, however Mel gets his jollies off, it's not for me to discuss. I'm rather here to discuss his football team, the fallout from it, all of that. So that's what we'll get into. Before we get started, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share this with your friends on social media. Let's get this thing going. Obviously, it's week 4. We're heading into week 4 of the college football season. Our coach, Michigan's head coach, Jim Harbaugh, will be back at the helm. It's nothing more exciting than that. Obviously, we've waited 3 long weeks. He does come back to a team in pretty decent shape, 3-0 to start the season. Granted, they were against inferior competition. I know the enemies can't wait for me to say that. We know that. We know it wasn't the best competition. It still doesn't take away from the fact we're 3-0. And by the way, anybody saying that we didn't play anybody, you didn't play anybody either. All right, let's start there. Secondly, though, I'm sorry, I got the wrong thing up. We're talking about Jim Harbaugh, not CSU. Jim Harbaugh returns. You know what would be the best thing is if Jim Harbaugh, we know he's returning if he came back with a cape or like a suit with an H on it that actually stands for hope, because it's an H, Superman, and the writers over there at DC. But anyway, Jim Harbaugh is returning. I'm expecting great things. The offense wasn't exactly the greatest this past week under head coach for a week, Sharon Moore, but it was still enough to beat Bowling Green by a sizable margin. That said, Jim Harbaugh, who's been watching things from his couch, as he pointed out, he said that sitting at home these 3 weeks watching the game from the couch has made him a better coach. Maybe it gives him a different perspective. He sees things from another angle. Who knows why it makes him a better coach? But I do expect the team to perform better under the actual head coach, Jim Harbaugh. Jimmy Boy comes back, like I said, to a 3-0 record. He's got a quarterback who had the worst game of his career this past week. Before that, though, had a quarterback that was firmly in the Heisman conversation 2 weeks into the season, argue with somebody else. I still think JJ is a dark horse to win the Heisman Trophy. One bad game doesn't spoil everything. We'll get into my Heisman picks here in a second, though. I don't think he's outside of my top 5. Let me warn you there. I'm not that delusional. JJ has dropped out of my top 5 of the Heisman race. because it is week to week and it is fluid, as certain people say. It's fluid, right? So JJ is not in my top 5 this week. However, he's not far from it. I mean, he's still completing a ridiculous amount of passes, right? The best part about Michigan's team so far this season, and let me know what you guys think. I think it's been the defense without a question, without a shadow of a doubt. And more specifically than just the defense, that defensive line, edge rushers and defensive tackles all together creating excellent pass rush and stopping the run. Michigan's defense is the MVP of the season 3 games in. Let me know what you guys think. In addition to Jim returning, it's going to be homecoming week in Ann Arbor. They're welcoming undefeated conference opponent Rutgers to the big house. That doesn't even sound right. Undefeated conference opponent Rutgers is coming to the big house this week for homecoming. What are your score projections? What do you guys think the score will be with Jim coming home? I think it's the we fence. The we fence. By the way, Jim coined that we fence. It's not offense. It's not defense. It's we fence. Jim or J.M. Best thinks the we fence is the best part of Michigan's team so far. He may be right altogether, right? Michigan's still dominating opponents even when we turn the ball over as much as we did in the last game. Let me know what you guys think is the best part of Michigan's team so far. I'm choosing the defensive line. You guys let me know what you think. 2-3 weeks in, what's the best part of Michigan's team? And give me your score predictions in the comment section. Let's chat about it. I'm going to go with, and Michigan, by the way, has not, if you're a betting person, Michigan has not covered the spread one time this year so far. But I think Michigan should be at least a 3-touchdown favorite against Rutgers. I'm going to go ahead and say they win that game 45-17. Let me know what you think. 45-17 is my prediction. What is yours? Let's move on to what we think or what Jim said in his press conference. I've already gone over one thing. He said that he is a better coach after watching the games at home the last 3 weeks. He's a better coach for it. What do you make of that? To me, I think obviously being a Monday morning quarterback myself, right? Being able to look at it from home and point out the things that you could have done or would have coached or what play you would have called. It's much easier to do that from the house than when you're right in the thick of things. So absolutely, I understand it from that perspective. That being said, he also mentioned, and I spoke a little bit about the Michigan not covering the spread yet, and Jim brought that up, that maybe there's too much pressure on the players, too much pressure on the kids to cover the spread and to win big and to win pretty. Let me know what you guys think about that. Do you think that's too much pressure? Should that matter in the grand scheme of things? At the end of the day, you are supposed to win the game, which Jim pointed out as well. So I think, both things can be true, but let me know what you think. Is it too much pressure to win big, or should kids just focus on winning, period? Let me know what you think. Let's get right into M3 times Heisman faves after week 3. Number 1 on my list, granted, this is my list. I need to reiterate that. It's fluid. It's only 3 weeks. It can change week to week, and it has, right? I had JJ in my faves last week. Obviously, that has changed. He has dropped out of the top 5, and I'm only going to give you 5, so prepare yourselves. But number 1 on my list, and I really struggled with this one. The top 3, any of them could have been number 1 for me. This one was a struggle, though. I'm going to give it to you, though. Number 1 for me, and let me know if you agree or if you disagree, is this guy right here, Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr. for me is number one because he's had 400 plus yards in every game so far this season. 400 plus yards, has not had a game where he threw less than 3 touchdowns. He just destroyed Lil Bro Nim, 470 some odd yards, 4 touchdowns. Before that, another 400 yard, 3 touchdown day. Before that, another 400 yard, 5 touchdown day. Altogether, you put it together, he's got 12 touchdowns already. 12 touchdowns, second only to Sam Hartman in touchdown passes. He leads the country in yards, passing yards, and he's pretty accurate. He's completing like 74% of his passes. He's number one for me in the Heisman race. Let me know what you think. Would you have Michael Penix number one in your Heisman race? Number two. Let's get back to it. Number two for me in the Heisman race. And again, like I said, the top 3 really could have been any one of these guys. So don't take it personal. Try not to take it personal anyway. If you do, that's on you. I can't help you. Maybe you should seek professional help. But yeah, Killer Dogs, he definitely is balling. Speaking of Michael Penix, definitely, it's not even a question. I can't argue against Michael Penix being the guy in that spot. Number 2 for me, and this one may be a bit controversial too, Shedeur Sanders. I'm going to tell you why Shedeur Sanders is number 2 for me. Not only is Shedeur Sanders, right, completing a ridiculous percentage of his passes, he's also throwing the ball not just effectively, but for a team that depends on him to throw the ball. He's got the second most passing yards through 3 weeks rather of anybody in America. Number one, of course, being my number one, Michael Penix. He also Shedeur also has 10 touchdowns. He threw his first interception last week or this past week, but he's completing 79% of his passes. You understand how high level that is. 79% of his passes, and if he doesn't do it, they don't win. Bottom line. If Shedeur Sanders isn't as good as he has been this season, they are 0-3. Book it. The only reason I have given Shedeur the nod over my number 3 is Shedeur has already had a Heisman moment. Shedeur Sanders, with the game on the line, got the ball with under 2 minutes left, had to drive 98 yards, down 8, by the way. So he had to drive 98 yards, get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, Heisman moment to tie the game. Then in overtime, by the way, his father, Coach Prime, did something that no coach in America would do. He won the toss for overtime and decided to take the ball. Most coaches want to see the other team get the ball first so they know what they have to do, not Coach Prime. He said, no, we're going to take the ball because I got my son who's on fire right now. He just drove 98 yards and threw a 2-point conversion to save the game and probably our season, because if they lose that game to Colorado State after what had gone on all week, it would have been a problem. We'll get into that later on, though. Shedeur Sanders throws a touchdown, throws 2-point conversion, ties the game up, goes into overtime, right down, touchdown, second overtime, touchdown, game over. Kiss the women and children, put the kids to sleep. Shedeur Sanders, number 2, storming the field after beating CSU clowns. Well, I mean, that's the student. The students decided to do that. So if the students are clowns, then so be it, whatever. Maybe they stormed the field after every win this season. Who knows? We need an honest reaction on CU talking all that mess to mess around and almost lost should have lost to a trash CSU team. I need some clarity. Talking all that mess. What mess did they talk? Oh, come on, man. Let me know. What mess did they talk? Killer Dogs. Oh, no doubt he went from a lesser conference to the majors. Looks even better. He should be in the conversation at least. For sure. He's number 2 for me. Number 2 in the Heisman race right now. Behind only Michael Penix Jr. right now for me. Let me get back to it. Number 3. You probably have guessed it by now. I've told you he's only number 3 behind Shedeur Sanders because Shedeur Sanders actually has a Heisman moment already. 98 yards. It's not easy to do. Shedeur Sanders, number 2. This guy here, number 3, which, by the way, I'm sure Wicked Bronco is not going to like it either. He has a problem with this guy. Being a Notre Dame fan, I understand it. Just do better. You wouldn't have to worry about it. Number 3, Caleb Williams, last year's Heisman Trophy winner. He could easily be number 1. He is tied for second in touchdown passes behind Michael Penix Jr. He is also completing a ridiculous percentage of his passes. Caleb Williams, number 3 on my Heisman Trophy list, completing 78.6, rounded up 79% of his passes. He has a better average per pass than even Michael Penix Jr. or Sam Hartman or Shedeur Sanders at 12.5 per attempt. He's got a higher rating than any of those guys as well at 240.5. It's near perfect. Might be perfect in college, or is it 244 that's perfect in college? Either way, he's close to perfect. Let me know. Awful close game for it being so personal. Sure, I mean, the other side must have took it personal too. The other side said personal things, and obviously I got to give Coach Jay Norvell credit in terms of X's and O's. He was on it, and I'm talking again about Colorado State, which we'll get into. I don't want to jump the gun here. I'm going to get there. Right now, I got to get through these Heisman picks. Number 3 for me, Caleb Williams. I've explained to you why that is. Let's get to my number 4 Heisman Trophy pick. Let me know, by the way, in the comment section, what's your top 5 Heisman Trophy and the order, right? Give me the order of your top 5. I'm doing mine right now. I've gone through the top 3. Number 4, also not far from these other 3. I got to be honest. I hate to say it, actually, but this guy is balling. He's balling so much that he could easily be number 1 as well. If somebody had this guy at number 1, I wouldn't be upset about it. I understand it. He is not number 1 for me, but Sam Hartman of Notre Dame, look at him. Look at his face here. He looks like he should be in an Old Spice commercial. And he's playing under. This guy has the number 1 rusher in America on his team. Audric Estime is on this guy's team. He's still doing what he's doing, passing the ball. And if you think because he has the number 1 rusher on his team, he's not passing that rock, you are wrong, sir. In terms of yards, he is number 5 in the country at over 1,000 yards passing already. Granted, he's played 4 games. I digress. Some of the other guys have not, but it doesn't matter. He's still balling. He's got more touchdown passes than anybody in America. There's not a person, there's not a player in America with more touchdown passes than Sam Hartman. He's got 13. Nobody else has that many. Again, Sam Hartman has played 4 games. I get it, right? Some of these guys have played 3 games, sure. Some of these guys are averaging more touchdowns per game, sure. That doesn't mean we get to take anything away from Sam Hartman. 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 217.8 rating, completing 71% of his passes. Oh, and did I mention he also has the number 1 rusher in America at the moment, Audric Estime, on his team. Sam Hartman, ladies and gentlemen. While you're here, be sure to like and share the live Let's try to get some more people in here. Like and share. Wicked says, I thought it was personal, basically saying it would be a blowout. Travis Hunter doing the watch thing. If that's how you show out when it's personal, I'd hate to see what you look like if not. Sam Hartman has more touchdowns than Caleb Williams. Also, Shador, Heisman moment against CSU. Nah, man. Dion will talk trash again all week after that performance. So, he should. When the announcer at the end of the game, do you believe now? So? It could have been over, bro. You the whole thing. I gotta talk to my friend. I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button. I'm back with you. I gotta talk to my guy for a second. Me and you face to face. Ryan, the whole thing could have been over. Did you see the list of celebrities that were at this game that included A-listers, The Rock? I can stop right there. ESPN, Fox, 60 Minutes, which is CBS. Who else was there? There was another. There was a fourth there. They were all there, right? Game day and big noon kickoff were in Boulder. They were in Boulder, Colorado, to see Colorado take on Colorado State. Wasn't like they came to see them take on USC even, which they probably will be back, by the way. They came to see them take on Colorado State, some coach named Jay Norvell, who I didn't even know until he opened his mouth. And somehow you, in a portion of America, has made this a negative thing for Deion Sanders and his football team, a football team that went 1-11. 1-11. Let me say it again. One win a year ago. They lost by an average of near 30 points. They were losing games so bad a season ago. I digress. They were losing by 30 a game a year ago. They now have a pulse. Forget whether or not this is a good team, right? Because I'm not trying to say that this is some world-beating team, but they're breathing. The heart is beating there. Something is happening. They just had the number one kid in America, by the way, from the state of Michigan, which makes me not happy. I'm upset. Bryce Underwood was there for that game against CSU. By the way, I was rooting against Colorado last week because I had ulterior motives. I want Bryce Underwood at Michigan. And if Bryce Underwood sees Colorado having success, it's not great for Michigan. Deion Sanders is Deion freaking Sanders. That kid's dad is a fan of Deion Sanders. You understand what is happening? Like, the hate has reached ridiculous levels, bro. And I don't want anybody to be a hate. Sam was balling at Wake Forest as well. Now that he's on a bigger stage, he might be a top 10 pick. Absolutely. Coming into the season, you can ask Ryan. I was not a Sam Hartman fan. I thought he was doing this in a much weakened ACC. I was not on the Sam Hartman bandwagon. Be sure to like and share this, please. My blood pressure has gone up a little bit. It's kind of crazy. Oregon and USC will smack CU all the way back to the Big 12. Oh, wait, clown face. This has to stop, bro. This has to stop. This level of hate has to stop, man. I'm really questioning a lot of things here. Oregon and USC, by the way, should smack Colorado. And if Oregon and USC don't smack Colorado, it's a problem for Oregon and USC. They should win by 1,000,000 points combined. So to say that like Colorado losing to these teams who were ranked very highly in the preseason poll, Colorado was not ranked very highly. Colorado was not ranked at all in the preseason poll. Colorado wasn't sniffing the top 50 in the preseason poll. And now all of a sudden, you're holding their feet to the fire when they have to play Oregon and USC? Oregon and USC, who are traditionally powerhouses? Oregon and USC, who have had years and years of top flight recruiting? or at least the opportunity to have top flight recruiting on a guy who got to Colorado, replacing a 1-11 coach, replacing nearly the entire team. There's only 10 players left from Colorado from a year ago on scholarship. And the onus is on him to beat USC and to beat Oregon and USC. No, bro, you got this thing all wrong. You're my guy. I like you. But this is all wrong. Yes, but it should still be over. You can't talk trash all week, say you're going to blow out CSU, then have to survive CSU, a team the same level as UMass. Good teams don't celebrate good win or those wins. They're not a good team. What are we talking about? Colorado is not Oregon. Colorado is not USC. Not yet, anyway. Come on, bro. You got to stop it. Then we got a Colorado hater in the building for real, for sure. Deion was pouting most of that game and was quiet. So? Are you supposed to feel good about losing? Come on, man. My thing is CU players and Deion think they can win a natty because they beat TCU. I have not heard one player say national championship. I have not heard Deion Sanders say we're going to win the natty this year. This is something that you have fabricated in your mind. You have in your head said that seeing Deion Sanders celebrate the way he celebrates, be confident the way that he's confident, and somehow have said to yourself, he thinks he's going to win a national championship this year. That's not what Deion Sanders has said. That's not what Shedeur Sanders has said. It's not what Travis Hunter has said. By the way, speaking of Travis Hunter, a guy lacerated his liver Saturday. He's got a lacerated liver. And Colorado is the big bad wolf. Come on, man. Anyway, I got to move on because you're making me blow my load on Colorado when I'm not even there yet. So we'll get to it when we get to it. Mel Tucker has left the building, ladies and gentlemen. Lil Bro Nim is finally tuckered out. Tuck was, I'm not going to do the tuck coming, but they were telling us that, right? Michigan State, maybe they knew something we didn't. Maybe Lil Bro Nim knew something that we did not know. I'm going to leave that there. What I do know is this. Michigan State has informed their head coach that they will be moving on from him with cause, they say. I saw Mel Tucker's media release last week. I thought it was interesting. He seems to think he's not getting a fair shake. I tend to agree with him. That said, they paid him a lot of money to win games. He's not done that. He had a good season or two, maybe 1.5 good seasons. But for $95 million with an M, it's not good enough. I understand he is leaving. I understand why he's leaving. I understand. Look, the route that they had to go to get him out of there. And I'm not saying that this lady's claims are invalid or untrue. Let me be clear. What she said about Mel Tucker, we have to believe her, right? Because in the patriarchal society we live in, too many women are not believed. Too many women's complaints are overlooked. All of that, right? Me Too was started for a reason. Whether or not you agree with it or not, it was started for a reason because women go through things, right? Look no further. If you don't believe me, you can go on YouTube, just type in catcalling. They follow women throughout the city of New York, Boston, other places, just walking down the street to get coffee. And you tell me that women don't go through things. Either you are in denial, blind, deaf, one of them. So I have to take what she's saying as the gospel. I'm sorry. The odds say, just because the odds are in her favor. That's what I'm saying. That being said, Mel Tucker has his right to due process. But this university does not want to pay Mel Tucker $95 million to be maybe the fourth best team in the Big Ten East. Let that sink in for a second. $95 million to place fourth, maybe, because you're not even that guaranteed that, because Maryland is a real team. Rutgers might be better than your team. I may be getting ahead of myself. Maryland's real, though. You may be the fourth best team in the conference on the east side. The Big Ten East. You might be the fourth best team. So, however they went about, however they go about or have to go about letting him go, they're going to have to sleep with themselves at night. I do know Mel Tucker is underachieved. I do know Mel Tucker probably didn't deserve a $95 million contract, but beating Jim Harbaugh in Michigan will get you some money, apparently. Mel Tucker, though, has tuckered out. What do you guys think on Mel Tucker's situation? And just for the record, poor little Bronim. Poor little Bronim. Look, I got to do this. Lil Bronim is about to fire a coach for some sexual deviance. I'm just going to call it that. They brought back a coach in Mark D'Antoni, whatever his name is. They brought him back after he failed to report some sexual deviance, at least some. They brought him back, though, to be like the head coach in the wing. I don't know what it was this past week. Either way, my Heisman favorite, Michael Penix Jr., punished them for it. So, poor little Bronim. Hashtag poor little Bronim. Like, share the live. We move on. Here we go. Fallout from Colorado versus Colorado State. It has to be discussed. You may have heard me already discussing this with my co-host of the Maize Blue and Gold show, Ryan Fravel. He's in the comment section spewing his hatred for Deion Sanders and everything Colorado, which I just don't get. You're a fan of Notre Dame who doesn't play Colorado, who is hundreds of miles away from Colorado. What is the problem? Mel Tucker is certainly a fraud, Ryan. Definitely a fraud. I disagree with that. People lie a lot. I am not saying people do not lie. I want to be very clear. She could be lying 100%. 100% of what she said could be a lie, right? However, based on what women, the thing is, what she says has to be heard. It has to be taken as the truth. We cannot question what these women say goes on anymore, because too much what they were saying was going on went questioned and went out the window when things were really happening. Like, for instance, women for decades had been saying Bill Cosby was doing things, right? Decades. This wasn't like a new case. I mean, of course, in the 21st century, things hit the news and then, they blow up. But for decades, women have been saying this. But Bill was America's dad. Everybody loved the Cosby Show, right? But they waited until Bill was this elderly, decrepit man to do anything about it. That's the point. How much is this MSU getting rid of an expensive problem as cheap as possible? I just broke that down a little bit. I got into that, but I feel like going too far into that kind of nullifies what this woman is claiming. So I don't want to get too far into that. Read my other comments. Let's go. It's not hating. It's just annoying to see. You gets more attention than anyone. Not even the back-to-back national champs don't get game day, big noon kickoff, 60. So what? So what? The back-to-back national champs don't have Deion freaking Sanders. The back-to-back national champs don't have their coach isn't selling glasses that just sold over 61,000 in 24 hours. So what? They're the back-to-back national champs. They should be contrite in that. They won the national championship back-to-back. They have two of them. 2 in 2 years. They're batting 100% for national championships in the last 2 years. If that's not enough, then you're complaining more than they are. I don't hear the back-to-back national champions complaining about Deion Sanders getting attention. This is crazy. This is crazy. Okay, CU fans, aka casuals, think they'll win a natty. Also, it's sad that CU fans are sending death threats to kids' family who hit Hunter. That is part of the fallout. Yes, the safety who hit Travis Hunter on the sidelines and lacerated his liver. He and his family have been receiving death threats since that hit. That is not okay. Right? It's football. I'm not saying what happened to Travis Hunter is okay, because it is not. That ball was clearly out of Travis Hunter's reach. The ball hit the ground at least 10 feet in front of Travis Hunter. It hit the ground, bounced. That young man, Blackburn, still hit Travis Hunter pretty hard after knowing that Travis Hunter had no play on the ball. That is wrong. However, what is also wrong is he and his family receiving death threats. It's not okay. Right? It is not okay. You got to treat it like it's real. For sure. Absolutely. That's all I'm saying. Be 100%. You got to treat it like it's real. You got to question it, though. Treat it like it's real. For sure. Absolutely. Mel Tucker deserves due process. No question about it. They actually have won things, though, in college football. So what, Ryan? So what? They won things in college football. They were recognized for winning things in college football. It's not like they won the national championship and we gave them a piece of paper that said congratulations. They won the national championship. They got the national championship trophy in their trophy case. When recruits go to Athens to visit, they see the national championship trophies in that trophy case. Deion Sanders doesn't have anything in that trophy case to sell them. He's selling them what could be in the trophy case. If you come here with me, who has won everywhere I've been. Deion, this is crazy. I can't believe that this is even a conversation. Ryan, are you sure you're not a Colorado fan? It seems like you talk about them a lot. He does a lot of talking about Colorado. Can't get them off his mind. He woke up thinking about Deion. Do you think if Ed Reed had stayed at Bethune-Cookman, they would have had as much hype as Jackson State? I don't know. Probably not. Ed Reed is not Deion Sanders. I think that Bethune-Cookman would have gotten a plethora of attention, more so maybe tenfold from what they were getting the year before Ed Reed arrived. He's still Ed Reed. He's still a Super Bowl champion, an All-Pro, a Hall of Fame safety. Whether or not he can move his mouth like Deion Sanders or market something like Deion Sanders is different. Deion Sanders is Deion Sanders. I must repeat, do not let Deion Sanders' confidence, right? Do not let Deion Sanders' confidence insult your insecurity. That seems to be what's happening. Deion Sanders is a confident man. He believes in his coaching style. He believes in the kind of kids he wants to have at Colorado. He believes in what he has now and what they could potentially accomplish. Shame on him for believing in himself and his team. Is that what you want? Who wants a coach? Would you want a coach like that? Would you want a coach to be like, man, we're only going to be so good? I don't want to hire that person. I'm not hiring the person that is like, oh, yo, we're going to be just this good this season. But, you wait. No. I'm hiring people that want results now. Deion Sanders wants results now. Deion Sanders got results. Bottom line. I have a Deion Sanders bobblehead, not an Ed Reed bobble. Facts. Ed Reed is all those things I just mentioned, by the way. A fantastic player Ed Reed was. Hall of Fame player Ed Reed was. Super Bowl champion Ed Reed was. I believe Ed Reed is a defensive player of the year one time, right? Let me know if I'm wrong. Somebody in the comment section. Ed Reed was phenomenal. I hate it when my team played the Ravens, not just because they had the greatest middle linebacker of all time, but Ed Reed was also back there patrolling the defensive backfield. Ed Reed was special. However, there's levels to this. All right. Ed Reed is in the upper echelon of defensive backs in the history of the game, in the history of football. But Deion Sanders is in a room so small, he can barely turn around in it. And in terms of the upper echelon of even that upper echelon. No disrespect to Ed Reed, who's a phenomenal player. I love Ed. Ed Reed better than Deion Sanders. Oh my God. I know they played different position. Ed Reed just killed dudes and made you know about it. I feel like I shouldn't have to respond to this. This level of okay. Ed Reed was better than Deion. Sure. Ed Reed was a phenomenal player. Phenomenal. Hall of Fame. Not, hey, just a genuine opinion. I'm not mad at you for your opinion. That's legit. I've made the argument that Charles Woodson's the greatest defensive back of all time, even over Deion Sanders. I would not make the argument that Charles Woodson's a better cover corner than Deion. Charles Woodson's a better defensive back. So I'm not even mad at the Ed Reed tape. Such a hater. By the way, I've gone through all my topics. I got to thank you all for coming through the live, sharing your thoughts. I appreciate each and every one of you. I will be back here. Not hate, just an opinion. I mean, that is his opinion. I can't be mad at him for that. His opinion of Ed Reed being a better football player than Deion Sanders is an opinion for sure. I disagree with it, but I'm sure he'll find somebody believes that. So I'm not mad at that. There's other people that believe Ed Reed was better than Deion Sanders. I know that for sure. I'm not one of them. Obviously, people here aren't one of them either, but I digress. Follow me everywhere at Maze Madman. This Wednesday, me and Ryan are live. Maze Blue and Gold Show. We've been out the last 2 weeks. Ryan, you will be here Wednesday, right? Ryan will be here Wednesday. We will be here live Wednesday. Let's run these numbers up. Thank you again. Until next time, stay angry, my friends. I'm upset.